Hey, if you're new here, I'm Cam and I have 4 channels, but what I'm most known for is investigating and exposing grifters, MLMs, influencers, even a progressive news figure earlier this year with an awful lot of fake degrees. I'm an equal opportunity exploitation and manipulation hater. Given all that information, you could say I'm something of an expert on scams at this point. But that doesn't mean I can't get got if I let my guard down or get caught slipping. Last week, an entire call center took their best shot. Not only did I record a couple of my conversations with these scammers, but I also want to use that experience to show you just how advanced scams can get in 2026. Identity theft, spoofing, automated answering systems, bald faced lies in a room full of Indians pretending to be Anglo Saxons. All this while I was battling a toothache. Monarch sponsored this video because they know what we know. Reliable info is dope. I've never talked about this aspect of the app before, but you can get financial advice based on your unique situation from a certified financial planner. It's pretty fast too. Let's walk through it. They ask you what's important to you. And for me, that's saving for retirement. I do have my financial accounts connected. I check my credit reports often. I do have an emergency fund. But then it asks about debt. And I have a very intimate relationship with student loan debt that has lasted over 15 years now. I do have insurance, and the last question is about a will and other important stuff that I don't have just yet. I'm working on it, get off my back. After that, I can choose a goal, and Monarch outlines the tasks you need to complete to make that happen. If you've already done it, we're good. If not, this gives you a chance to stop making excuses and put your money where your mouth is. To try Monarch for yourself and get half off your first year, use code CAMJAMES50, scan the QR code on screen, or hit the link in the description. Okay, I owe y'all a story. I recently trademarked the name of my upcoming merch line, which represents the product of a lot of work by me, graphic designer Eric Montague, and a couple of black illustrators. I'm really excited to roll that out. But getting the legal side organized was a crucial first step. This is my second time filing a trademark. The first was when I was a co-founder of a tech startup years back. That startup imploded after we got funding, partially because I got kicked off the team, which is a long story that has its own video that I'll link below. I told the scammers this was my first time because I lie to them on purpose every chance I get. Anyway, your name and contact info gets listed publicly when you file a trademark request. I knew that, but it wasn't something I was actively thinking about as I completed the process. It was hard enough getting this in my old account since I had to use that ID.me system. Got it done, paid $350 to lock it in, and I thought I was done with the hard part. Less than 24 hours later, I got a call from an unknown number, and this is where the deception kicked off at a level I didn't even know they operated at until now. Y'all might already be like, time out. You picked up a call from an unknown number. Nah, I never do that. They left a message.
Hi, this is William Garrix, Verification Officer, calling from USPTO. I believe you're unavailable at the moment. You filed a trademark application on 2nd of July. You can call back at the verification department line, which is 571-702.
After hearing that, I was slightly suspecting a scam since someone with a strong Indian accent was claiming their name was William Garrick, but also wasn't sure since the protocol sounded legit. I called back, and this is what their automated system sounds like.
Thank you for calling the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Please listen carefully as our menu options have changed. Please remember, you can no longer use email to verify your identity when you log into your USPTO.gov account. To be clear, the USPTO will never ask for your personal or payment information over the phone. If you receive a call from someone you suspect is a scammer, do not give them any personal identifying or payment information.
They copied the actual USPTO voicemail system. Do y'all realize how crazy that is? And to the best of my knowledge, the buttons work, the extensions work. I have no idea how much time it would take to do something like this. But if anything, it drives home the fact that this is not only a full-time job, but a full industry that supports hundreds to thousands of people across several countries. This is investment and innovation to keep up with consumers like you, getting smarter about avoiding scams. I still suspected that this was a scam and stopped caring about it altogether until they called me back. Their rep claimed he was representing the United States Patent and Trademark Office, told me my name, address, and the name of my trademark, had an Indian accent, and told me his name was Marcus Adams this time. Is that possible? Of course. Many Indian Americans change their names or are given English names to assimilate more easily. He didn't tell me he got my info from the public filing, but that was immediately obvious since there was no way he could have known otherwise. What did Marcus tell me?
How long have you been in business for?
This is a brand new mark, and I've been in business for years, but I haven't been selling any of this merchandise specifically until now.
Alright, so I was reviewing your filing and I noticed that you currently have protection under International Class 25, which covers your tops as clothing. Alright, so the reason for my call is that, so while I was reviewing your application, I noticed that appears to be positioned as a clothing brand. Is that right?
That's right.
Alright, and I wanted to make sure your trademark protection covers the full scope of how you're using and growing the brand. So right now, your Class 25 protects the actual clothing products, but there are additional areas that clothing brands commonly need protection for, depending on their business model. Alright?
Mm-hmm.
So the first classification that is mandatory is International Class 035, which is 35, which is for online retail store services. Now, Class 35 protects the retail side of your clothing brand, including selling apparel through your own website, online store, or any e-commerce platforms. While Class 025, it protects the t-shirts and the clothing item themselves. It does not protect the online retail services where customers find and purchase those products under the brand. Alright?
Okay.
Now, if you're operating an online store or selling your apparel directly to customers, adding Class 35 is mandatory to ensure the business side of your brand is protected.
That is not true. It might feel true since the person you're talking to claims they work for the USPTO, and it might make logical sense for someone trying to protect their business. But it's a lie. If you file under 025 and someone tries to copy the name of your products, that's more than enough to protect you from copycats. Believe it or not, it gets a lot worse. So far, all he's done is lied to me about the trademark class. But you already knew money was going to come into this at some point. Their main goal is to get you to add that class with them on the spot at $350 a pop. Then add what they call a declaration for up to 10 years at $850 since it involves an attorney of record. Just like that, you're expected to pay $1,200 over the phone for a trademark you already had the right to use.
To declare your application online, right? Because the only way to declare your application is on the federally recorded line, okay? So once that's completed, and as I was specifying before about that reference code, that'll be generated from our panel and then provided to you once the declaration is completed. That is only accommodated on the phone call. That's all. You wouldn't be getting that on the portal. You wouldn't be getting that on email. You wouldn't be getting that on text.
I knew it was a scam halfway through his pitch about the declarations and had already Googled the official USPTO site. But Marcus passed me to their billing department to close the deal as the final step. While he did that, my ass was Googling hard. There's more red flags that popped up in the process. All of your accents sound regionally consistent, but you're giving me American names and you're asking me to pay over the phone. And that's something the site doesn't say they do.
Oh, wow. This is so your call. I'm not forcing you out here. This is totally your call. You can proceed further if you would like to. It's not totally your call.
To be clear, the USPTO will never ask for your personal or payment information over the phone.
And if you would like, you can verify my details. You can verify my user ID as a direct line number.
I just looked up your name, and I don't see any connection between that name and anybody working for the USPTO. Why is that?
Oh, did you, sir, look up Rebecca Lawson at the USPTO? You'll find me.
Okay, just a second.
Search Rebecca Lawson at the USPTO and you'll find me. Go to the search engine. On your search engine, be it Google.com, put Rebecca Lawson at USPTO and you'll see my name at the assignment center.
Yes, I see a Rebecca. What's the middle name?
A.
Of Rebecca?
Lawson.
A. Lawson?
Yes, Rebecca A. Lawson. You see me?
I do. I see a whole page full of assignments that you were involved in, but there's attorney docket numbers and so you're saying that this Rebecca Lawson, that you have the authority to take payments via a phone line, even though the site says no one will ever call me asking for payments via a phone line?
That. So basically that. There's a difference in asking for payments on a recorded line for the verification and the declaration. The declaration and the verification.
Not gonna lie to y'all, she kind of had me in the first half because her name actually showed up in the records for the USPTO in their assignment center, like she said. This Rebecca A. Lawson person was the assigner for a bunch of records dating into the 2000s. And that's where she slipped up. Because when you look at the details, this person had not done anything associated with the USPTO since 2005. That's 21 years ago now, which is crazy to say out loud. This is a level of bluffing that I don't think I've ever seen before, at least not directly to my face. But clearly, in their operation, they take real people's names and throw that information at you along with their employee IDs and their location and stuff like that to get you to believe the scam. And it had me feeling like, oh, am I being paranoid? Like, maybe I'm wrong, but no, I'm absolutely not wrong, as you'll see even more evidence of.
Thank you for calling the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Please listen carefully as our menu options have changed.
Google Chrome and Microsoft Edge are the only compatible browsers for the USPTO.
So I was contacted recently by someone claiming they were a rep of the USPTO, named Rebecca. They gave me the name Rebecca Lawson and tried to pass me off to a billing department to charge me for additional trademark classes. I'm just trying to check to see whether this organization I was talking to were scammers or not.
All right. Let me see here. So I'm going to get you transferred over to the Trademark Assistance Center so they can let you know if someone from there actually reached out and if that's an actual agent in their department.
Okay.
For assistance with your My USPTO account, press 1.
You know how I know this is the real USPTO phone line? Because I've been waiting for 20 fucking minutes.
Your call is important to us. All trademark information specialists are still busy assisting other customers.
So y'all might not be able to see it from this far away, but it's at 53 minutes. I'm not waiting for this shit. I look it up on the site, and Rebecca Lawson does not work for the USPTO. Federal employees are in a public database. It was that easy. I just wanted to make sure and double check, but our entire government has been dismantled. I felt like I was going crazy because they denied and deflected every time I called them out directly. These are pros with a script to follow. The confidence with which she said it surprised me. I talk about financial exploitation often. It gets to a point where you feel like you've seen it all, but reading about it and studying it ain't got shit on experiencing it yourself. Being lied to about where they're located, what their names are, and who they are in such a blatant way triggers something inside you when you know they're lying. It's a little bit of your fundamental belief in other human beings that gets chipped away. I don't know if that's something I can get back, if I'm being honest with y'all. I used to be a happy kid until the world stepped in. Like, it taught me to bury my emotions, stop trusting people so easily, and protect myself whenever I interact with the outside world. And people wonder why I'm an introvert. So y'all are never gonna believe this next part. I got one of them back on the phone. This time he said his name was Christian. And Christian told me, again, in the section I played for y'all earlier, that I needed to get classification 035 on top of my 025 class that I already filed for, right? And this was going to cost me $350 for the class plus $199 for a modification fee. Now, if y'all are keeping up with the math, that would bring me to like roughly $550 in that neighborhood. There was tax or whatever. So he said he would send me this invoice via my email. And he didn't say who that invoice was going to be coming from. But naturally, I assume that it's going to be coming from the United States Patent and Trademark Office, right? Because that's who I'm talking to. And this is a government agency. So why wouldn't I expect that? Anyway, so when he finally sent it, it didn't say the United States Patent and Trademark Office. It said Techagents Innovations LLC, which I don't know how they expected that to fly. So I asked them on the spot, what the fuck is this? Actually, I have some questions because I got the invoice from Techagents Innovation LLC. Can you tell me more about that company?
Techagents is actually one of our merchants associated with the USPTO.
So I went to Techagents Innovation LLC's website, and nothing about that website indicates that they're affiliated with the USPTO. Can you explain the connection?
Are you sure you're looking at the same website?
Yeah. I mean, there's only one Techagents Innovation website on Google, but if you can provide a different one that is more relevant, then I'd love to check it out.
Sure. Alright, which will after this call, let me just email it to you. Alright? And do you need anything else?
No, I mean, I'd love explanation online because I mean, on the federal recorded line that we're currently discussing on, because you indicated that you'd be sending me an invoice for the USPTO, but it's affiliated with this separate LLC, and no government agency would ever do that. Why was it done in this case?
No worries. I can go ahead and send you the link of Techagents' website. You can go ahead and have a look. Alright? And you can just reply back to me in the email whether you would like to proceed or not proceed. Alright, Mr. Williams?
No, I'm looking for, a reason why this invoice was sent for the amount that we discussed on a federal recorded line through this LLC instead. Like, can you explain that? What am I going to do about it? I used this site, lookify.io, to find as much info as I could about these numbers being used by the scammers. They didn't sponsor this. It was just the most affordable method I could find to get the results I needed. Most numbers were purchased via Twilio International, a company that offers AI solutions for customer support systems and allows people to buy phone numbers in whatever region they want worldwide. Is that business inherently unethical? No, not really. The AI side of it isn't generative AI, although all forms of AI have caused the kind of disruption any new technology causes. And there's nothing wrong with getting regional phone numbers for business purposes. In theory, when it's used to pretend your office is in Virginia or pretend you're Americans in order to scam people, there's obviously a deeper issue. I wrote and asked them for more information, Twilio that is, on these numbers, since they were being used to commit crimes, but I haven't heard back at time of reporting. One of these numbers is, or was, owned by a real person named Daquan Thornton. Like, I can't make this shit up. I looked him up. Another was owned by somebody named Jordan Lawrence. After looking all that info up, I reported each number on Lookify in an effort to add to the risk score, and reported this entire operation to the FTC via the link on the USPTO site. These are a few ways to take action to avoid other people getting exploited, despite my inability to find out who the actual scammers are or where they're really located. I did my part by calling them back several times to waste as much of their time as possible and tell them about themselves. Most importantly, I hope anyone watching this will slow down when interacting with anyone claiming to be a government official on the phone or via email, long enough to check federal websites for their policies and personnel. You never know how clever scammers are going to be. So keep your head on straight. There's a free wiki with info about scams linked in the description too. Y'all stay healthy.